Das Standardmodell. Das Exportmodell. Die Sonnendachlimousine. Und das Cabriolet. 2 Wagen in einem. Bitte, treten Sie noch näher heran. Hier das typische VW-Gesicht. Kräftige moderne Stoßstangen. Geschmackvolle Scheinwerfer mit weitgreifendem Lichtkegel. Superballonreifen verschlucken die Unebenheiten der Fahrbahn. Schwenkbare Drehfenster, ideale und zugfreie Durchlüftung. Gut geschütztes Heck. 2 Bremsleuchten mit Schlusslicht und Rückstrahlern gefällig kombiniert. Und nun ein Blick ins Innere. An der raffiniert durchdachten Armaturentafel alles, was zum Fahren notwendig und nützlich ist. Hier das übersichtliche Zentralinstrument, direkt im Blickfeld des Fahrers. Raum für Autoradio. Geräumiger Handschuhkasten. An der Lenksäule der Winkerhebel. Flinke Scheibenwischer. Griffiges Zweispeichenlenkrad. Und nun die bequemen und verstellbaren Vordersitze. Na, wie sitzen Sie?
Großartig.
Und auch hinten ist überraschend viel Platz.
Ja, sehr bequem.
Und wenn es sein muss, sogar für 3.
Hi, I'm Devyani Kothari.
Hi everyone, my name is Wo Chung.
Hi, my name is Prince Baguette.
Hi, my name is Will Agri.
Hi, my name is Kim Kelly.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Alvarado Crawford. We are Group 3, and we will be discussing Volkswagen of America Managing IT Priorities, Case 3-2. Let's get started. In this presentation that we are about to start, we will be discussing the general issues, the main stakeholders, theory and concepts, the symptoms and problems, the alternatives and evaluations criteria, the best solution and implementation plan, the evaluation and review of the project, and the current status update. Some quick facts about Volkswagen. Ferdinand Porsche started the company in the 1930s in Germany. When he started the company, his goal was to create the people's car, which would be designed to transport families of 5 at highway speeds, using less fuel, but still being affordable for consumers. In 1940, Volkswagen designed the Beetle, whose round design was very unique. The Beetle became Volkswagen's signature car. Volkswagen Beetle became an international hit, and that would last for the next 20 years. The Beetle also helped Volkswagen hit 1 million in sales in 1955. In the 60s, Volkswagen sales varied from a cycle of highs and lows, and in the 70s, the Beetle's popularity declined and importation to the United States was discontinued. Even though importation to the United States was discontinued in the 90s, the Beetle production continued in Latin America. Some of the challenges that Volkswagen had in regards to IT were Volkswagen of America outsourced most of their IT department to a company called Perot Systems. They did this in order to help reduce short-term costs. Perot Systems would be responsible for taking care of maintenance, repair, and operations of IT production environment. Volkswagen of America signed an agreement for 10 years, which took place from 1992 to 2002. The decision left only 10 internal IT staff to work at the Volkswagen of America. Outsourcing caused insufficient knowledge within Volkswagen of America. This even caused a problem when it came to the administering of the outsourced contract. Eventually, Volkswagen of America would be able to rebuild their internal IT department, building it up to about 28 employees. However, in 1999, Geta USA, a new Volkswagen group, was created and would take over the administering outsourcing contract with Perot Systems. Geta USA also assumed responsibility for IT operations at the expiration of the Perot contract, which would happen in 2002. In order to speed up the startup of Geta USA, All 28 of the IT employees from Volkswagen of America were transferred to GETA, leaving Volkswagen of America without real IT knowledge and barely within arm's length to get information from GETA USA. Another issue was identifying the next NRG, which stands for Next Round of Growth. NRG was a readiness program designed to define goals and functions to support global production diversification. And the final issue was BPTO, which stands for Business Process Technology and Organization, was Volkswagen of America's third attempt to having an internal IT department. BPTO was to work with GETA USA. BPTO's main concept was to be able to identify if IT was doing the right projects. In this slide, we will be discussing the stakeholders for Volkswagen of America. We will start off identifying the internal stakeholders, which you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. The internal stakeholders are the CEO, the Executive Leadership Team, also known as ELT, the Business Process Technology and Organization, or the BPTO, the Program Management Office, or PMO, the Digital Business Committee, or DBC, the IT Steering Committee, or ITSE, GETA USA, and the Volkswagen of America employees. The external stakeholders are identified on the left-hand side of the screen. Volkswagen of America external stakeholders are the customers, Volkswagen of America's partners, which are Perot Systems and Bentley, the suppliers, the distributors, and the shareholders.
Let's discuss the theory and concepts of the impact on IT with the IT impact map. Between the years of 1992 and 2002, IT was almost considered to be non-existent, since Volkswagen executives were primarily focused on turning Volkswagen and Audi brands around the US market solely through marketing and selling activities as their main funding priorities. IT was only considered a source of overhead at that point. In an attempt to reduce IT costs and expense, Volkswagen took Petrol Systems as a partner and leveraged their expertise in maintenance, repair, and overall operations of the IT production environment. Through this partnership, the very little IT infrastructure that Volkswagen did have, unfortunately, had not been utilized very effectively, and as a result of this partnership, Volkswagen was able to reduce their internal staff. However, by doing so, many of the internal IT expertise had also been removed. It took Volkswagen nearly 7 years to establish a decent group of IT individuals that they could leverage effectively. In 1999, this was when Volkswagen began to make incremental improvements with their IT infrastructure. Volkswagen created and implemented GETA USA, who was an IT consolidator within Volkswagen's global group of companies. GETA USA would take on the responsibilities of establishing contracts with the likes of Petrol Systems and assume full responsibilities at the expiration of Petrol Systems' service contract. GETA USA would also undertake development projects, work for Volkswagen of America. However, in the long run, this had proved to be unfavorable for Volkswagen as well. Also in 1999, as part of their business process design and re-engineering initiative, Volkswagen leveraged the evolution of the internet and was able to leverage third-party providers to help maintain their web capabilities to entice its customers to their brand of vehicles. And Volkswagen utilized the internet to generate their e-business teams within both Volkswagen and Audi brand organizations. This was the first time where Volkswagen was able to bridge the gaps between GETA USA, Petrol Systems, and Volkswagen of America's e-business to rebuild the IT environment. This was proven to be useful and also created some problems as there were no single IT governance rather than just a mixed batch of responsible parties. So the emerging opportunity finally came in 2002. Volkswagen of America, along with their global IT organizations, sought out to establish a new business unit that would be considered as their single point of IT governance for IT-related matters. According to the text, IT governance is viewed as the effort to design a system to achieve a set of related objectives that includes attainment of strategic goals, efficient operations, reliable measurements, and compliance management. And collectively, these elements work together to shape decisions concerning IT use in the organization, determine criteria by which to assess conformance to these decisions, and define mechanisms by which these decisions can be communicated, implemented, and enforced throughout the organization. With this new level of IT governance, it helped to create a single level of ownership that could lead the entire Volkswagen's IT infrastructure to where they needed to go, which was to consolidate all IT matters amongst all the parties that were involved, to include e-business team and GDS USA. So a new internal IT department would then emerge as part of the Volkswagen's overall business transformation, and this would be called the Business Process Technology and Organization, or BPTO for short. This new IT department would be assigned to a portfolio of projects, and BPTO not only helped Volkswagen to become more productive, but it also helped the company stay on the right schedule and also on the right budgets.
Hi, I am Devyani Kothari presenting symptoms and problems. The first issue faced by the company is model of the IT department. Company had 6 internal departments or the group that prioritize IT resources, headed up by internal CIO, and the decisions made by IT department were then transferred to the parent systems or GEDAS systems, essentially leaving the company without any true IT resources. In 1992, in order to reduce short-term IT costs, Volkswagen of America entered into 10-year agreement with Parrot Systems, an IT service provider. Parrot System assumed the responsibility for maintenance, repair, and operation of the IT production environment. Due to this outsourcing agreement with Parrot, Volkswagen of America dramatically reduced its internal IT staff to fewer than 10 people. In doing so, it eliminated much of the IT knowledge within the company. In 1999, a new Volkswagen group was formed in US known as GEDAS USA, a US subsidiary of GEDAS AG. This is the company who was consolidator of the IT operation within the global Volkswagen group of companies. GEDAS USA assumed the responsibility of administering the outsourcing contract with Parrot and would assume the IT operations upon the expiration of the contract with Parrot. At this point, all internal IT employees of Volkswagen of America were transferred to GEDAS US. Although GEDAS was wholly owned subsidiary of Volkswagen of America, it was charging external market rate for its services to Volkswagen. This left Volkswagen of America with no real IT knowledge. As a result, Volkswagen of America decided to hire more employees to its internal IT and set up e-business team for the purpose of creating digital marketing assets and interacting with customers in new ways. Second problem they faced is underperforming IT functions. Although Parrot Systems, GEDAS USA, and Volkswagen of America e-business teams work together to rebuild the IT environment to support rapidly growing Volkswagen and Audi brands, IT function was not optimally performing within the Volkswagen of America, as responsibility for managing IT was shared among multiple providers with no single organizational entity in control of overall IT process. And that is the reason IT expenses were also on rise. As a decision, executive leader team at Volkswagen of America decided to form a new business unit which could become single point of governance for all IT issues. Third problem the company faced was which project to fund. The biggest hurdle the company had was the capped funding that was determined by parent company Volkswagen Audi Group. Volkswagen Audi Group had allotted 60 million out of the requested 210 million for IT projects. Due to inadequate funding, the projects of global importance were not funded. Employees were thinking about their own business units instead of the company as a whole. It was also difficult for management to validate the project based on its strategic relevance. As a decision, the procedure for deciding which projects will receive funding is streamlined by a new prioritization process. This process was divided into 3 phases. Phase 1 was calling out for all the projects, establishing communication process, and identifying dependencies. Phase 2 was receiving the formal project request from business units with detailed information like name of the project, changes it would cause the current environment, a financial model, or enterprise function that was being improved or going to be affected, and the enterprise goal that the project would advance. Phase 3 transforms the business unit request into enterprise goal portfolio. This new prioritization process was implemented so that most innovative projects are funded, align the projects with the strategic goal of the company, and optimize the available funding so that as many as projects possible get funded.
Hi, my name is Prince Baguette, and I'll be talking about the alternatives and evaluation criteria for Volkswagen. Well, just to kind of get started, Volkswagen capped their budget initially at $60 million. Well, for the IT projects, funding actually required $210 million. So we need to find a way where all funds could be used for some of these IT projects instead of being all focused on marketing and selling. So with only 10 internal IT staff that remained after they were cut and most of the IT was outsourced to Pro Systems, there was insufficient knowledge amongst the ranks to be able to move forward with some good IT projects. So we had to find what's the process for improvement. Well, it seemed that there was no commitment to IT at all previously, and now IT started to become more and more important as things started to go online, sales, as business started becoming much larger on the web and through e-sales. So, what needs to happen? Well, there needs to be a clear, stepwise approach to the evaluation of the IT projects, which reflects the company's priorities. So, it should be impartial, it needs to be peer-reviewed, and it should reflect the budget. So, I created 3 different alternatives. Well, our group created 3 different alternatives, which is important for us being able to evaluate how we move forward. So they have a choice to do nothing. To do nothing, the pros of that, there's no changes to the current process, no added cost to implement the new process. But the cons are, it's huge problems in the process, the budget not being allocated resourcefully, lack of corporate direction, and the qualifications of IT personnel because of that department being cut so far was very limited. So it actually helping to grow the company, it didn't. Not only that, not to mention a lot of the business, because they outsourced it, it was a division away from the company. So there was such a distance between the outsourced company and internally that that it was hard to really get things done. So the second alternative is to start the NRG program, which brings groups into the decision-making process. So if we do that, the pros are there's a higher degree of transparency. It's open. Everybody's able to see more of what's going on with the budget, where it's being used, and it's happening way more internally, as well as us using those external, but more management from the inside. There's better planning, and there will be monthly and weekly status reports so that everybody knows what's going on and is on the same page. The cons, there's less funding for individual business units. It's difficult to consider global level of projects. And since all the funding was due to a ranking scale, it was hard to really be able to move forward with broad projects, which could have been larger in scope, outside of the ranking scale that was composed. And last but not least, they create a PMO unit to create the blueprint to bring process and planning together. So, and this was huge because the pros of this is it provides governance structure. It merges a lot of the business policies as well as a lot of the business objectives together. So if we're able to merge those initiatives and the business policies together, then we could have a much more dynamic force where different business units working together, it can benefit all because of each different objectives that in some cases merge together. So in all, that would make better use of funding and better relation to the company's goals. The cons, it's always going to be a challenge when you have different divisions within a company with different ideas to what is merited that needs funding. So, and in regards to IT, there's so many different projects and different software, different units that use software and technology and so many other different capacities that's going to be merited. Hey, how does that meet our company's objectives? So that's normally one of the main cons there. And it's harder to prioritize because you're trying to figure out what are the important agendas and initiatives that we need to move forward with, and which ones could we put on the back burner, which isn't going to hurt our business in the future. So considering the future, the past, and the present in a lot of these decision making makes it tough to sometimes prioritize. But if we do that, or if the company does that, Volkswagen, they're going to be very successful moving forward. Thank you.
And I'll be presenting solutions and implementation. So we're looking at solutions and implementation for Volkswagen. So looking at the solution, we decided that the organization should really look at prioritizing and moving forward with the NRG program, which was the next round of growth. We really thought this program would really support the company in defining goals, functions, and future strategies. Behind any solution needs to be a strategy, and we thought that this could be supported with a strong IT governance unit. So this unit would potentially prioritize projects according to relevance, and then be held accountable for allocating the resources that would be needed to implement and complete the proposed projects. Next would be implementation. So phase one, we felt that calling for projects, the communication process needs to be clearly outlined, and identifying dependencies. So in essence, the project management office would be accountable for the evaluation of proposed projects, really looking at the details behind the proposals, identifying opportunities for improvement, and then also establishing workshops to really get a Bible understanding for those associated with the projects on the benefits and the potential pitfalls of the projects. Phase two would be the formal project request from business units. So this is where business units would put their proposals for project approval together, and they would be assessed on an individual basis. So the team, as previously mentioned, would once again look at these individual projects, look at the relevancy of the projects, and then either approve or deny the projects based on what they felt was the most important component for the company. Last but not least would be phase 3, which entails transforming business unit requests into an enterprise goal. So basically, this is where the funding of the project begins. So the business units look at the portfolio of the project and ensure that the project is running according to the timeframes, and they deal with the funding and implementation of the project. So in essence, this is the three-phase step and the solutions and implementation that we recommend. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ken Kelly, and I will be discussing the evaluation and review of our case study, as well as a current status update of VW Auto Group. Some of the major challenges that Volkswagen's strategic mission faces are as follows. Even early on in the implementation of Matulevic's new prioritization process, he experienced significant resistance to change. Overcoming this resistance will be critical to implementing future strategies. Many people are happy with the status quo, or they are set in current ways, and then there are people who want to see the company go in a different strategic direction. All these people are potential obstacles, and they can become even larger obstacles if they gain support from others, which often happens as more and more change occurs. These people must be convinced that the new direction is in the best interest of the company, or they need to be removed from their position. Part of overcoming the resistance, and also a major challenge in itself, is changing the company culture in a way where more employees recognize the importance of IT and proper IT governance. Without a method for prioritizing critical IT functions, the company might as well be throwing darts at a dartboard and seeing what projects the darts land on. This is clearly inefficient and risky when you consider the high volume of projects that were suggested when Matulevic first opened the doors for input on which projects to fund. Initiating new IT projects, especially in the state that VW was last in the case study, requires careful allocation of funding, and the process must remain fluid over time so money can be reallocated to support critical functions if need be. The bottom line is that VW must catch up to the rest of the industry at the very least in order to remain competitive with the ever-evolving technology that shapes our marketplace. Matulevic had support, but not full support, of all the people that mattered at VW. Part of implementing any new strategic initiative is gaining support of people high up in the company. Obviously, letting them go isn't an option if they resist change, so the best way is to make a case for IT and convince higher-ups that the projects needing the funding are in fact critical to VW's strategic trajectory. If properly carried out, the strategy will bring on the following key advantages. The new direction will see company-wide acceptance, so the high-priority projects will become less and less difficult with more and more support. Acceptance of change is critical to successfully implementing a shift in strategy. Part of the acceptance will be due to acknowledgement that IT is lacking at Volkswagen Auto Group, and as such, it will become a strategic mission and help guide the efforts of the company. With greater IT capabilities comes greater production capabilities, faster and more reliable communication, leaner operations, simpler diversification of products, and greater innovation. All these things will lead to lower costs and higher efficiency, which will allow VW customers to join in on the savings as car prices drop. This is in direct alignment with VW's foundation as the people's car. As mentioned earlier, Volkswagen literally translates from German to English as people's car. It has remained a part of VW's strategy since the company's birth, but now it carries a somewhat different meaning. VW has gone from providing a single car for the average person to providing a wide range of options for all people. As they have diversified over the years, they have gained more and more popularity, especially as they have branched out into new vehicle types like sports cars and modifiable cars, and as they acquired subsidiaries to operate in select markets. As they gained popularity, it was only natural to see that competitors wanted a piece of them. As a matter of fact, in 2009, Porsche tried to obtain a very large piece of them by buying large quantities of VW stock. The plummeting value that can be seen in the first figure on this slide marks that year that some call the Valley of Despair. So much despair came at this time that some people, including German billionaire Adolf Merkel, took their own lives. Since then, VW has been on the rise again in value and profits, aside from a small dip in 2012. Here the company is compared with the S&P 500 and Ford Automotive Company, included as a reference largely because we already have some insight into the performance of Ford over the years. Despite the VW subsidiary, Seat, which has plagued VW even in times where the rest of the group is booming, Volkswagen has been performing quite well, especially in foreign markets, which in their case includes the United States. They met and even exceeded targets in 2012 and 2013, and they have had a healthy start in 2014. Nowadays, they may no longer hold the lead in value, but they are certainly experiencing exceptional growth, and if this trend continues, we may see them quickly overtake some of their biggest competitors in the near future. And that concludes our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it.